Welcome back, guys. If you are just joining us, this is INX Prime Live. Remember, we are on your screens every single Monday to Friday between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Now, we know that members of the Lebanese community in South Africa are planning a picket demonstration outside the Israeli embassy in Pretoria just next month. Now, the community are calling for an immediate ceasefire in both Gaza as well as in Lebanon, where Israel has killed tens of thousands of civilians and also targeted hospitals as well as residential areas as well. Now, we are joined by a member of the Lebanese community in South Africa. She goes by the name of Masarrah Rejeb, and she actually joins me in studio right now. Masarrah, thank you so much for joining us here at INX Prime Live.
Thank you, INX, for having me here.
No, it's a pleasure having you. I mean, I want to get into this conversation. I think this, the planning of this picket is such an important thing as well. I just wanted to chat to you about this. Now, we know that, South Africa has been very involved in terms of this whole Palestine-Israel, issue as well. And we have taken, Israel to the ICJ as South Africa. We know that they've also indicated that it is a genocide in particular. But I wanted to know, are you afraid that perhaps what happened in Gaza will actually happen the same way in Lebanon if things don't change?
So the thing is, unfortunately, it's already happening with a death toll of more than 2,000 already. Civilians, obviously, at least a third of women and children, which is quite saddening. You know also that thousands have been misplaced from their homes. Thousands are wounded, and we're actually struggling to get proper treatments for them because the medical infrastructure itself is also targeted, as you may know. So it's a difficult situation. It sounds like kind of a start of a copy-paste, and it's really sad to say it. The thing that is beyond the death toll, and there's an agenda that is quite horrifying, I would say, which is the bombing of cultural places. So I don't know if you heard about it, but last night the city of Tyre, which is a 5,000 years city, it's a World Heritage Site. It does not belong only to the Lebanese, but it also belongs to the whole humanity, have been bombed. Why? We are not able to understand this. We have, I would say, hints about the answer. Let me not go that far. The village where we come from, which is Ait al-Jabal, which is by the frontier of Israel. In the village, the mosque have been destroyed. The Husseiniye, which is the venue where funerals, gatherings happen, have been destroyed. And worse than that, the cemetery have been destroyed. So my children will not be even able to stand and pray by the tombs of their ancestors. This is really, even the thought of it is quite saddening. And they won't even be able to look, at tomb, the tomb stones where they say, birth, death. They won't even be able to find a family tree. Only the thought of that, gives hints of, it's as if they wanted to not only kill us physically, but also erase us from history. Maybe the idea here is telling themselves, in 100 years, maybe no one will even know that they even existed. But let me tell you something. Lebanon is, yes, true, small, but a very resilient, country. And, invaders came from everywhere. Ottomans came, Romans came, Byzantines came. They all tried, right? But still it's there, fighting for itself. And this is the sixth attempt of Israel to penetrate actually Lebanon in 50 years. And I think Netanyahu this time is coming with his genocidal methods. He wants to prove that he's going to be the one who's going to win the case, because 6 times a lot of money spent also on war, right? But let me tell you that it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, and I think what you guys are planning to do with the picket is going to play such an important role in South Africa as well, just to gain the awareness. We're going to chat about that as well, but also chat about, the city of Beirut and how special it is in terms of the Lebanese people. But before we get on to that, I just want to come back to some of the news reports that have come out, and I'm reading them right now. You did mention, the 2,000 people that have actually been, killed in Lebanon, which is a very sad thing. But I'm reading some of the claims that are coming from Israel in particular, and they're speaking about why they're actually going out and bombing hospitals. They're saying that there's about hundreds of millions of dollars and gold that are actually hidden in these hospitals. Now, I wanted to know, I mean, do you believe that that could actually be an excuse as to why they want to bomb hospitals in that sense?
The thing is, I think there are two aspects to this. There's a humanitarian aspect and there's a logical aspect. From a humanitarian point of view, there's, for me, no excuse at all to kill civilians. And let me just, between brackets, talk even about 7th of October last year. As Lebanese, we were sad about what happened in Israel. No, there is no excuse at all to kill civilians. If you guys want to make war, army against army, go somewhere, fight. Why should civilians be involved in this? So it was quite a saddening thing to see just, innocents just losing their lives like that. Even if, obviously everyone's going to say, but there is killings in Palestine, in Gaza, of course, but I don't think that killing is an appropriate answer. So this is the humanitarian side. No excuse is valid. Then let's go to the logical side. When I read this, actually, I was laughing. Because let's imagine, first of all, Lebanon is a sovereign country. They are allowed to have their own gold and monies, right? I mean, why shouldn't they have any monies? There's something we really don't understand in this excuse. But if I make an analogy and say, let's imagine you're sitting quietly in your living room watching TV with your wife, okay? Suddenly, SAPS, like the South African police, pushes the door, comes to you and says, sir, we're arresting you because your wife has a ring, $2,000 worth ring in her finger. You're going to look and say, where's the joke? Where's the camera? There's something here that does not make sense, right? So, yes, you're going to tell you this, but I'm sure your wife will just push you to SAPS and say, take him, but keep the ring for me. But jokes apart, there is, I think they're running out of lame excuses. Because a few months ago, they came with the excuse that, I'm sure you remember, that schools, the terrorists, what they call terrorists, are using schools and hospitals to hide weapons and material, right? So months have passed and bombings happen everywhere, and still nothing have been released in the press or even on social media showing any proof that they found weapons somewhere, or So the CD is too old. They need something new, Now they pull out this new one. We don't know. The next one, what is it going to be? I think they are 6 feet deep. They're digging even deeper. I'm sure the next one will be even more creative. But, let's see what they're going to say again.
Yeah, I think I must also speak about some of the property companies that are, based in Israel in that sense. Some of them are actually starting to advertise properties in Beirut and in Lebanon that they're actually looking at allowing, Israelis to come in and buy those properties as if they already own the land. And I mean, that's a huge, huge concern for a lot of people. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, you are. We saw the ads, and in the beginnings, we was just honestly thought it was memes or jokes or, some very dark jokes, but it was not. I think on their side, they're investing a lot of money in this war, right? And they even doing proper visuals with very scenic properties. I think they need people's engagement. Remember, even in Israel itself, a lot of people are losing faith, or maybe never had faith in war itself, or never had faith in killing civilians. But they don't show these ones. They are being oppressed, same as Palestinians. I've seen videos where they get beaten, with batons by the police. So, if you want to justify these type of actions still, and I also heard about 100 suicides within the Israeli police. This is a lot, in a few months, on 7th of October. So I think if you want to continue to do this, you need some interest from people. So how can you catch interest? I mean, you do your best, right? You find lame excuses, and you find lame interest also to, just attract people's attention, say maybe they're going to be, willing to move there, the beach, and this is nice. So How ridiculous.
That definitely is something that we hope never ever continues. I don't think any property company has the right to take over or post up pictures of a land that they don't actually own. I just want to touch on Beirut. Right now, we know that there is a community, and quite a big community, of Lebanese people in South Africa. We'll chat about that. But every time you see their stories on Instagram or on WhatsApp, everyone's so proud when they actually land and you see the skyline of Beirut. Now, Beirut is something that's very special to a lot of Lebanese people. But we do know that the Israelis are going out to bomb residential areas within the city as well. Has there been any of your family members that have been affected by these bombings as well?
Unfortunately, yes. So we have a family apartment in Dahye, Dahye being the first area that was bombed in Beirut. So our family is misplaced. A few of them are here and there among friends and family. The youngsters among them even slept on the beach for a few days because they were looking for where to go that is not being bombed yet. Because yes, you're looking for somewhere to go, but you say maybe they're going to be that side next. So you're never sure. So they told themselves, okay, let us stay on the beach because they're not bombing the beach yet until we see which area is still safe. So it's quite a horrifying thing to live, and even us being abroad, to imagine, because we can't do much from this far apart from supporting with some actions we're going to talk about. But I think it's, again, coming back to the civilians and bombing civilians, I think they're trying to install kind of a terror, a horror, terror within the population, that, this is what happens to you when you're against us. But, again, I think this is one of the very special things in Beirut. The Beirutis are very resilient. Yeah. So, bring your bombs in, and they're still there, surviving, making plans for things to still happen. So I think sooner or later, they're going to realize that this is quite useless, or it's a waste of money to still continue invading forever.
No, definitely. I think the Lebanese people are very resilient in that. And we are getting a lot of comments and questions coming in. I mean, Safa is saying that, you're a very, very strong woman, and thank you so much for sharing all of this with our audience as well. We're also getting a Lois as well as part of the Lebanese community. And she says she really does enjoy this conversation because you're speaking out for a lot of what people feel and how they believe as well. So I want to touch on that community as well. I mean, we are getting a lot of these Lebanese people adding comments and questions as well. There is quite a big Lebanese community in South Africa, right? And it does go quite a way back. How big would you say the Lebanese community is in South Africa?
So I have the exact figure for you. It's 40,000 people.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't look like, but it's 40,000. And remember, this includes third generations, second generations, and first generations, being the one who came the last 20 years from Lebanon, right? So what's really, I would say, fun and impressive about Lebanese people and Lebanon is that it's such a small country. It's 10,000 square kilometers, but then it's 17 different communities, 17 different cultures in that small country. It's strength, and at the same time, it's a weakness, because people live within their communities, even here in South Africa. But the good thing, I mean, we try to see good everywhere, right? I think with the rise of these very, saddening events, there is also a rise in the national consciousness within the Lebanese people, where they realize that, yes, I have a community, but also Lebanon, there is a Lebanese identity. And the Lebanese soil is my mother, and a mother to all the diaspora that is abroad, and also a mother to a lot of human beings, actually, who are not even aware that they are Lebanese. Lebanese blood is kind of spread everywhere. So that soil is sacred, and we need to protect it.
No, and I really hope that is actually the case. I know that this picket is happening now. It is going to happen on the 9th of November. It is happening at the Israeli embassy in Pretoria. Maybe perhaps you can share with us more information about the actual picket itself. What's the objective of this demonstration?
Yes. So we're going to be picketing on November 9th at 12 p.m. in front of the Israeli embassy that is in Pretoria. We are obviously going to first share our indignation and shock regarding the barbaric acts that are being performed on civilians. You know, methods that are being used to eradicate human beings that obviously illegal, you know, like white phosphorus, it's illegal, but it's being used, and it has been proved that it's being used. Bombing hospitals, bombing schools, getting children and women out of the way, you know. I'm not sure if you guys here saw the latest video that was quite also shocking about a refugee camp in Palestine being set on fire. People were burning alive. It's something you only imagine in movies. And this is happening in front of, you know, our eyes. So there are also United Nations peacekeepers that have been shot. Where is this? Where's the limit? Our question is, where's the limit, guys? How far can you go? Like, I think we're reaching, every time with you guys, we're reaching the bottom. We're not seeing the bottom yet. So this whole nonsense needs to stop. By what? We are requesting an immediate ceasefire that already have been requested by the United Nations. But I think that raising our voices is going to be very important for us. Because you see, we as humans, we're not even talking as Lebanese only or Palestinians. There will be speakers from Palestine, from Lebanon, from South Africa. But we are actually talking about the whole humanity. We already facing as a humanity, you know, climate changes, resources issues, global warming, and then we need also to be killing each other. Like, what's the plan? You understand my point? So we need this to stop, because these barbaric things are going to remain in our collective consciousness for generations. You know that professors from Harvard proved that we have what is called a collective consciousness, which means that generation upon generation we keep memories from the past, even if no one told us about them. So look at what inheritance we're giving to our children. Honestly, this is looking quite bad, and we don't want this anymore. We need this to stop immediately, and we're going to be raising our voices because we want freedom not only for Lebanon, not only for Palestine, but for the whole world, because as long as humans are still suffering from oppression, we'll never be free.
Well, that's true. And I mean, there's a lot of comments coming in. People want to know more about the more details in terms of transport, and we'll come to that in a bit.
Yes.
I just have a question coming in from Rania as well, and she was saying, you know, there's all of these Arab countries in the Middle East. There's Saudi Arabia, there's Qatar. All of them are around. They're very wealthy. I mean, there's Aramco in Saudi Arabia, which is a $1 trillion company. Why are they so quiet, in your opinion?
You know, it's at the end, it's economical alliances. You know, there's business going on. So if you're sitting with your business partner and you're making money with them, you know, and then you know that, you know, they're making a few things wrong on the side, it's quite difficult for you. You need courage to stand and say, listen, I don't need your money. I'm not needing your money. I can't actually accept that you on the side are doing this to other people. But you know, the case of Saudi Arabia is quite special because it also has interest in that area being weak, you know, regarding forces like Iran, etc. So it's the whole, you know, politics in, not only business, but politics. We can talk for an hour about this, yeah. But what I wanted to say is Egypt is in the same case. You know, Egypt is not far. They can be standing for Palestinians and Lebanese, but same, you know, it's quiet. So everyone there is thinking about their own interests. It's kind of a chess game, an open board of chess, and the ones who are paying the price, you know, are falling and falling, are actually, you know, civilians from Palestine and Lebanon.
It's very, very sad. And
yes.
It's, hopefully people can change their mindset when it comes to this, especially the leaders in all these Arab countries.
Yes.
Okay, before we let you go, just how do people get involved when it comes to the picket that's happening on the 9th of November? Is there any transport arrangements in place? Please share as much information as possible.
Yes. So the picket is happening on the 9th of November. It's at 12 p.m. in front of the Embassy of Israel in Pretoria. There is on the flyer an email address which is protest 9 November Pretoria at finmail, FINMAIL @icprime.com. They can send an email to us. You can send an email if you have any requests, any questions, if you want to help. I'm receiving a lot of people actually, offering help, which is amazing. And it helps us keep faith in human nature, right? So if anything pops out in your mind or you have any suggestion, obviously you're more than welcome to do so. We're going to have a few speakers on the day, and people from Palestine, from Lebanon, obviously, and from South Africa, prominent figures from Palestine. We're looking forward to hear their stories. So it's going to be quite enticing and interesting to hear all these people around and have their opinion and have their own version of what's happening. Regarding all practical aspects, comes to transport or any other subject, please also get in touch with us via email. We are arranging transport from different areas, so it just needs some coordination here and there, and we're looking case by case depending on the area. But please just join us, send your email, send your request, come raise your voice for not only Palestine, not only Lebanon, for the whole humanity to be free. Let's raise our voices and face oppression. I think this is very important, that the leaders are, I think, deaf until we scream enough. So it's time we scream enough.
No, I love that. And I'm sure a lot of people will definitely get involved. But Masarrah, thank you so much for joining us tonight on INX Prime Live.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Guys, that is Masarrah Rejeb, who is actually part of the South African Lebanese community, just emphasizing the importance of the 9th of November. Now, it is going to happen at the Israeli embassy, and that is a picket which will play such an important role in holding the Israelis accountable for what's currently happening in Gaza, but also what's happening in Lebanon as well. Now, on that note, we are going to take a quick ad break, and we'll come right back.